I have a refrigerator. I want to start with this fact because it is not universal. It is nearly universal in New York in 1948, but not entirely universal. And the near universality is itself recent, and the recency matters for what I want to say. Approximately 80% of American homes have a mechanical refrigerator now. 20 years ago, approximately 8%. In the span of 20 years, in my adult lifetime, in the lifetime I have been running my own household, the refrigerator went from luxury to standard, from the thing that rich people had to the thing that almost everyone has. I have had mine for 4 years. Before that, the icebox. I want to tell you about the icebox before I tell you about the refrigerator, because you cannot understand what the refrigerator is without understanding what it replaced. And what it replaced was not nothing. What it replaced was a relationship with food that was thousands of years old and that the refrigerator ended in a generation. The icebox. An insulated wooden box, lined with tin or zinc, with one compartment for ice and one or more compartments for food. The ice keeps the food compartment cold by proximity. When the ice melts, the food warms. You replenish the ice. The Iceman. The Iceman came to my building 3 times a week when I had the icebox. He came with the truck, with the blocks of ice, with the specific tongs that grip the ice block, with the leather pad over his shoulder that the ice rested on while he carried it up the stairs. He knocked. I opened the door. He came in, went to the icebox, opened the ice compartment, put the block in, took the old meltwater pan out, and emptied it. He left. This happened on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Iceman was a regular presence in my apartment. A person. A name. His name was Mr. Freenwood. He had been delivering ice to my building since 1940. He knew which apartment needed what size block. He knew if someone wasn't answering because they were out or because something was wrong. The Iceman knew things about the building that buildings contain, the specific knowledge that comes from regular access to the interior of other people's lives. He also cost money. The ice cost money. The ice box required the ongoing expense of the ice, and the ice box could not maintain very low temperatures. The ice kept things cool, cool enough to slow the spoiling of food, not cold enough to freeze, not as cold as the refrigerator. This matters. With the icebox, food stayed edible for a certain amount of time, and then it spoiled. The timeline was known, not written down, known. You bought meat on Monday, and it was good through Wednesday. You bought fish on Tuesday, and you ate it Tuesday evening. You did not buy things far in advance because far in advance meant spoiled. The icebox organized the shopping around the food's natural timeline. The mechanical refrigerator. A sealed metal box, insulated, with a compressor that circulates refrigerant through coils, extracting heat from the interior and expelling it outside. The interior stays cold, colder than any icebox, without the ice, without the Iceman, without the twice-weekly delivery and the meltwater pan and the ongoing expense of the ice. You plug it in. It runs. It is cold. Continuously. This seems simple. It is not simple. What it changed is significant, and I have been standing in front of my refrigerator this week thinking about it. First change, the temperature. The icebox kept things at approximately 40 to 50 degrees. The refrigerator keeps things at approximately 35 to 40 degrees. This difference, 10 degrees, is not trivial. At 35 degrees, bacteria grow much more slowly than at 45. The food stays safe much longer. Food that would last 2 days in the icebox lasts 5 or 6 days in the refrigerator. This changes the shopping. You no longer need to shop every day or every other day. You can shop once a week. You can buy Monday's meat on Saturday. You can buy Tuesday's milk on the previous Thursday. The refrigerator decouples the shopping from the eating. Before, you bought what you would eat soon. After, you buy what you will eat eventually. This sounds like a convenience. It is a convenience. And it changed the relationship between the person in the kitchen and the food in the kitchen in ways that are still working themselves out. Mr. Freenwood does not come to my building anymore. He came for the last time in 1944, when the last icebox in the building was replaced with a refrigerator. He came in, I saw him in the hallway, and he nodded and went to the apartment and came back empty-handed and left. I did not realize it was the last time. I did not say anything particular. He had been coming for 4 years, and then he did not come, and I got the refrigerator, and I did not think much about the transition. Mr. Freenwood delivered ice. The refrigerator does not need ice. Mr. Greenwood's job became smaller, and then it became almost nothing. Not immediately. There are still ice boxes in the city, still ice delivery, still the iceman's work, but less. The refrigerator's spread has been the iceman's recession. This is the pattern I described in the food series with the typing pool. The technology arrives, it replaces a human function. The human who was performing the function is no longer needed for that function. The iceman, no longer needed. Mr. Freenwood found other work, I assume. I did not ask. I have been thinking about him this week. Not with guilt. The refrigerator is genuinely better than the icebox. The cold is more reliable. The not needing the ice is a genuine convenience. But with the specific awareness that every technology that helps me has, somewhere, a person it no longer needs. This is the scene I want to describe, because it is the scene that started this episode. Tuesday night, 2 a.m. I was not asleep. I was not reading. I was doing the specific thing that happens sometimes in the middle of the night, where you are awake for no specific reason, and you get up and you go to the kitchen, and you open the refrigerator. I opened the refrigerator. The refrigerator light came on. The cold came out. I stood there. I was not hungry. I looked at what was in the refrigerator: the leftover soup from Sunday, the half block of cheese, the bottle of milk, the eggs, the specific domestic inventory of a single woman's refrigerator at 2 a.m. And I was not looking for anything in particular. I was just looking. And I thought, I am one of millions of people doing this right now. Not literally at this exact moment, but in this approximate hour, in this approximate situation. Someone is opening a refrigerator at 2 a.m. in apartments across New York, looking at the lit interior, looking for something they may or may not be hungry for. The refrigerator at 2 a.m. is a specific modern experience. Before the refrigerator, you could not do this. There was no light inside the icebox. There was no cold box to stand in front of. The kitchen at 2 a.m. was dark, and whatever food was there was not illuminated and available in the specific refrigerator way. The refrigerator created this experience. The 2 a.m. open the refrigerator and stand there. This is a small thing, but it is a thing that did not exist before the refrigerator. I want to say something about cold. Cold is the absence of heat. Heat is, in the molecular sense, the movement of molecules. More heat means more movement. Less heat means less movement. At absolute zero, there is no movement. Bacterial spoilage is molecular activity. Bacteria reproducing, breaking down organic compounds, the specific biological processes that turn fresh food into something else. These processes require heat, molecular activity. Cold slows the activity. Very cold stops it almost entirely. The refrigerator is, therefore, a machine for slowing time. Not literally, the clock runs at the same speed outside and inside the refrigerator. But the biological time of the food, the time it takes for the food to become not food, This time is slowed by the cold. The milk I bought on Thursday is still milk on Tuesday because the cold has slowed the bacteria that would have made it not milk by Tuesday at room temperature. The refrigerator is a machine for suspending the natural process, and the natural process is things rot. Everything organic rots eventually. Meat, vegetables, milk, bread, eggs, all of it, given time and warmth, becomes not itself. The rotting is not a flaw in the food. The rotting is what food does. The rotting is how the organic matter re-enters the cycle of organic matter that makes the world. The refrigerator intervenes in this. It says, "Not yet." Every refrigerator is saying, to every piece of food inside it, "Not yet." And I have been thinking about what this is. Not wrong. A genuine intervention that serves genuine purposes, but also a change in the relationship between food and time that is not small. I want to say what was lost when the refrigerator replaced the icebox. Not romanticize what was lost. I am not arguing that the icebox was better. It was not better. The food kept less well, the ice cost money, the meltwater pan was a nuisance, and Mr. Greenwood, kind as he was a regular intrusion into my apartment. But something was lost. The daily shopping. With the icebox, you shopped frequently, every day or every other day, for what you would eat in the next day or two. This meant you went to the market regularly. You saw what was good that day. You bought what was available. The shopping was responsive to the actual state of the food, rather than planned in advance. The refrigerator makes it possible to plan. You shop once a week. You buy what you will need for the week based on the plan you have for the week. Planning is better than not planning in many ways, but the daily market trip was also a way of being in the neighborhood, of seeing the vendor, of knowing what was available, the specific social texture of frequent small transactions. The planned weekly shop is more efficient. The daily market visit was more embedded in the life of the neighborhood. Both things are true. And the nose. Before the refrigerator, when your food was cooled only to 45 degrees, the food's smell was more present. The kitchen in summer smelled of what was in the icebox, the cheese, the meat, the specific ambient smell of food at a temperature where it is working, not frozen, alive in the biological sense. The refrigerator at 35 degrees, the food smell is largely suppressed. The cold slows the volatile compounds that carry smell. The refrigerator smells of cold more than of food. This is, I acknowledge, considered an improvement. I am not sure I entirely agree. I want to say something about the refrigerator and women, because this is the part of the refrigerator's history that is the most interesting and the most complicated. The refrigerator was sold, in large part, as a liberation. The marketing, the advertisements I described in episode 11 of 40’s, the advertisements for refrigerators were aimed at women, and they said, "The refrigerator will free you. You will no longer need to shop every day. You will no longer need to manage the ice delivery. You will have more time." More time for what? The advertisements did not always specify. Sometimes, more time for your family. More time to be with your children. More time to create the beautiful home that your family deserves. Which is to say, more time to do other domestic work. The refrigerator saved the time of the daily shopping trip. The marketing suggested this time would be used for other domestic activities, not for work outside the home, not for reading or studying or organizing, or any of the things that time could be used for that was not housework. The refrigerator as freedom within the kitchen, not freedom from the kitchen. I do not say this to condemn the refrigerator. The refrigerator is genuinely useful. The time saved is genuinely valuable. I say it because the way a technology is sold tells you something about what the sellers thought the person using it was for. The refrigerator was sold to women as a tool for better homemaking, not as a tool for less homemaking. The distinction matters. Let me describe my refrigerator. It is a Frigidaire. The word Frigidaire, from the company that makes it, has become so common that people use it generically, the way they say gramophone for any record player or Hoover in Britain for any vacuum cleaner. Frigidaire is a brand name that became a noun for the category. My Frigidaire is white. The exterior, painted steel, white, with a chrome handle. The interior, white enamel, with 3 shelves, a small compartment at the top for ice cubes, and a vegetable drawer at the bottom. The compressor, in the back, at the bottom, accessible from behind the refrigerator. When the temperature inside rises above the set point, the compressor turns on. When the temperature drops back to the set point, it turns off. The sound. A low mechanical hum when the compressor is running. A silence when it is off. The hum is the sound of my kitchen as much as anything else. The background noise of living in a space where the refrigerator runs. I have lived with this refrigerator for 4 years. I no longer notice the hum. I have been thinking about this all week. The specific process by which something extraordinary becomes invisible. The refrigerator was, at the moment of its invention and first widespread use, a genuine technological marvel. The ability to keep food cold continuously, without ice, without ongoing expense, through a closed mechanical system? This was not obvious, not trivial, not easily achieved. Now, it is the white box that hums. The marvel became furniture. The refrigerator knows what I have, not in the way that Goldstein knows what I want, not the accumulated personal knowledge of a person who has paid attention to a specific person over time. The refrigerator knows what I have put into it and what I have taken out, in the sense that the refrigerator's interior is a record of my food choices. The eggs I have not yet used, the leftover soup, the cheese, the half bottle of wine I opened last week and did not finish. These things are in the refrigerator, and the refrigerator holds them. Without judgment, without comment. The refrigerator does not suggest that I should eat the leftover soup before it turns. The refrigerator does not indicate which cheese I have had the longest. The refrigerator simply holds. This is different from the icebox, where the holding was more limited, and where the calendar pressure, the ice runs out, the food warms, you must deal with it, was more present. The refrigerator removes the calendar pressure. You can ignore the half bottle of wine for 2 weeks. The icebox did not allow this. Whether the removal of the calendar pressure is good, I have been standing in front of the refrigerator at 2 in the morning thinking about this. The pressure of the expiring food was also a reminder to pay attention, to use what you had, to not acquire more than you could manage. The refrigerator makes it easier to acquire more than you can manage. I know from the device that in 2026, the refrigerator is still the refrigerator. Same basic function, cold box for food. Same basic form, white rectangle in the kitchen, compressor, shelves, vegetable drawer. But larger. And the device showed me with the specific quality of information that makes you stop and reread it. The refrigerator in 2026 is, in some models, connected to the internet. The refrigerator is on the internet. The refrigerator can show you what is inside it when you are at the grocery store. The refrigerator can suggest recipes based on what it contains. The refrigerator can tell you when items are approaching expiration. The refrigerator that cannot tell you anything in 1948 will be able to tell you everything in 2026. This is the device's logic applied to the refrigerator. The device sees you. The refrigerator will see what you have. Both, knowing what was previously untracked, offering information you did not previously have access to in this form. And I thought, reading this, the refrigerator in 2026 will know that the soup has been in there for a week. It will tell you. This is the function that the Iceman used to perform, the gentle calendar pressure, the awareness that things have a time, returned in digital form. The Iceman is gone. The refrigerator, eventually, will do what the Iceman knew, just without knocking. Every piece of technology is an answer to a question. The telephone answers, how do we communicate across distance without waiting for the letter? The automobile answers, how do we travel faster and farther than the horse allows? The refrigerator answers, how do we keep food from spoiling without constant management? And the answer is good. The answer works. The food does not spoil. The management is reduced. I do not need Mr. Greenwood 3 times a week. But every answer to a question changes which questions are asked next. Before the refrigerator, the question was, what will keep until Wednesday? After the refrigerator, the question is, what should I cook this week? Before, the food's timeline set the agenda. After, I set the agenda and the food complies. This is a shift in power between the person and the food. The food used to have more power. The refrigerator gives it to me. This is good. And I have been standing in front of the refrigerator at 2 in the morning, looking at the food that I have the power to not yet eat, and I have been thinking that the power to not yet eat something is also the power to forget about it. The food at the back of the icebox, behind the ice, always cold, always available. This food does not declare itself. Goldstein's bread at 6:15. It declared itself. The smell, the heat, the moment. The leftover soup at 2 in the morning. It waits. It says nothing. It will wait until I deal with it, or until I do not deal with it, and it becomes something I throw away. The refrigerator is patient. The icebox was not patient. The patience is the gift. The patience is also the permission to neglect. I have spent a week thinking about the refrigerator. The refrigerator is the most ordinary object in my apartment. It has been there for 4 years. It has been running continuously for 4 years, the compressor cycling on and off through every night, the hum the background of my kitchen, the cold a constant I rely on without noticing. I had not thought about it before this week. I want to say what thinking about it produced. The refrigerator is genuinely good. It keeps food safer and longer. It reduces the daily pressure of the icebox calendar. It made the Iceman's work unnecessary, which is bad for the Iceman, and genuinely better for me in most respects. And both of those things are true simultaneously. The refrigerator also changed the relationship between food and time in ways that are still working themselves out. The weekly shop instead of the daily market. The calendar pressure removed. The food's own timeline no longer the dominant organizing principle of the kitchen. These changes are not bad. They are changes. They produced new relationships and new habits and new freedoms and new neglects and new experiences like standing in front of the open refrigerator at 2 in the morning, looking at the illuminated interior, thinking about what you want that may or may not be food. The refrigerator gave me the 2 in the morning open refrigerator moment. This is a gift. A small, specific, modern gift that did not exist before the refrigerator. I receive it. I am grateful. There is a smell. Not the smell of food at cold temperature. I described that. Suppressed, almost absent. The cold itself has a smell. The specific smell of very cold air, which is almost no smell, which is the smell of almost no volatile compounds in the air. But there is another smell. the refrigerator smell. Each refrigerator has its own specific smell, composed of the food that has been in it, the specific materials of its interior, the enamel, the rubber gaskets, the shelves, the specific bacteria that have colonized the interior despite the cold, the occasional spill that was cleaned imperfectly. My refrigerator smells of very cold air, faintly the cheese that has been in it for a month, and something else I cannot identify that is just my refrigerator. Every refrigerator smells like itself. The icebox also smelled like itself, cold and ice and whatever had been in it. The refrigerator smell is milder. The cold suppresses it, but it is there. When I am away from home and I come back and I open the refrigerator for the first time after being away, the smell of my refrigerator and the specific small feeling of recognition. This is my kitchen. This is my cold. This is home, in the specific form of a smell that I have not smelled for however long I was away. The refrigerator smell as a form of home. This seems excessive. I believe it anyway. The device, when I searched for icebox history, showed me the icebox is now mostly gone. By 2026, the mechanical refrigerator is so universal that the icebox is historical, something you see in museums, something grandparents describe, something that appears in nostalgic descriptions of the early 20th century. The Iceman's profession? Gone. The device described it as a historical occupation, something that existed and then did not exist. Another technology job absorbed by a better technology. What the device also showed me, a return. Not of the icebox itself, but of the idea of the icebox. The cool box, an insulated container, no ice, used for keeping food cool during transport, for camping and outdoor activities. The principle of the insulated container, still useful in specific contexts. The icebox as a form, persistent in descendant forms. And artisanal ice. By 2026, there are businesses that sell ice, not for iceboxes, but for cocktails. Large, clear, specifically shaped ice cubes for expensive cocktails. The ice that the Iceman delivered for the functional purpose of keeping food cold, now available as a premium product for the experiential purpose of making a cocktail look and taste a certain way. The Iceman's Ice, luxury in 2026. The Iceman himself, gone. I am going to pay attention to my refrigerator this week, not standing in front of it at 2 in the morning. I am going to do that anyway. It has been my practice, and it will continue to be. I am going to listen to the hum, the specific mechanical sound of the compressor cycling on, the silence when it cycles off, the hum, the sound of cold being maintained, the sound of the food not spoiling, the sound of the machinery that replaced Mr. Greenwood 3 times a week, the sound of 4 years of dinners kept until they were eaten. The hum is invisible because it is constant. The constant things are the hardest to see. But they are there. The refrigerator is humming right now, in my kitchen, maintaining the cold, holding the food, doing the thing it does. Mr. Greenwood is somewhere in the city, doing something else. The refrigerator does not miss him. I looked him up in the phone book this week. He is listed. I might call him sometime, just to say, I noticed the transition. I noticed when you stopped coming.